Welcome back to another episode of Genius Days. We're talking about designing your avatar, and we're here with our fellow hosts, Ryan G, uh, Ivan over there. He signed into his GF's account, so the name is different. But yeah, what's happening, guys? You want to give a quick disclaimer to the audience before we kick things off?
Yeah, sure. Be wise about what you hear on this webinar, this seminar, this quick podcast. I believe you guys are very smart. Act like it. We are simply educators, entertainers, and whatever you take from this, be smart about it. Anything you want to put in, Ivan?
Yeah, don't talk shit about us because we're gonna fucking eat your ass. That's why.
Disclaimer, I will not eat your ass. I will fuck you up, however.
What a pleasant way to start our evening talking about Aussie. All right, so So basically, man, we're talking all about designing our avatar. This is a topic in character development that's just very, very crucial, and I think that we can talk about it for hours, honestly, if we keep going at this rate. It's such a profound topic. It's a topic with a lot of depth to it, and first of all, it's really understanding what we mean by avatar, right? Because if we look at the example of the movie Avatar by James Cameron, he actually used the example of avatars from Indian myths or, mythologies. And he got the idea of like, coming into this world almost in this kind of God form, this body. And, you know, yeah, it's a Sanskrit term originally. So it's very interesting for me to explore how we use it now as kind of like a video game term, which now is used as a game term, you could say, or a social art form term. And it's very empowering, right? It's a very empowering idea how we have this idea of this persona, this avatar, this character that we step into, and that helps us integrate our best selves when we step into that. So, first and foremost, let's just kick it off. What is your avatar? If you could just give people a brief understanding of how you've been exploring it personally.
I'll keep it short. Are we a combination between a digital nomad traveling the world doing business, one who experiences culture, spirituality, as well as finding the joy in life? And if you look at sub archetypes that I like to follow, would be the martial artist that travels, the adventurer, he who seeks adventure in everything. And then I liked what you said about games. I used to be a very addicted gamer. I loved gaming back in the day. I would play Tekken a lot. I would pretend I was them. And especially when you do, that specific martial arts, let's say wrestling or taekwondo, uh, you just love seeing those techniques again in that world. And just for a quick second, you're that guy. So what if we were to do the same in real life? Ivan, I'm curious about yours. Your avatar.
um, I change. I don't have a main one. I do have a main one actually. Well, it's different because I work most of the time. So when I work in construction, so when I'm there, I I have to go in and like I dress as like the part of like construction work, right? And so, but like for me, I decided um to put on these combat boots, right? I bought these combat boots like steel toe, like nail resistance, um, well, it's boots that are fucking like I can kick shit with this, I can kick a wall and my feet are gonna be okay. So I bought these boots because I was like, hell yeah, I need to be safe in that way.
Combat
They
boots?
give me support. Some combat boots. They're like straight military boots, actually.
Yeah.
They protect my ankles, all that shit, right? Waterproof, all that shit, right? And so it's like I see people walking around. See, this to me, this is very basic. It's like, okay, I'm gonna enter this world. How can I adapt to this world, right? For others, there's people who've been been working construction years and years and 10, 20 years, right? These fools, bro, they just be walking around in sneakers. It's like my G. You're less strong now just because of that in itself, right? And so, LeBron James once said, I start my outfit from my shoes. He said, when I begin creating my outfit, I start with the shoes, right? I finish with my crown. I start from the bottom and then I go to the up, right? Because how I want to step into my day, right? So sometimes I have my, like, let's just say I'm wearing my Nikes. I have a pair of ones, right? These are just really fucking cool shoes. And so when I just want to be cool, when I want to have swagger, I put those shoes on. But when I want to have class, I won't put those shoes on because they don't have that energy, right? My step won't be the same. Literally, my fucking step itself will not be the same. And your feet are your root, and your root is what grounds you. And what you are grounded to is what you manifest. God damn. Oh, baby, you know what I'm saying? We're going in here deep. We're going in here deep, man. Okay. I want to pass it on to somebody else.
Yeah, bro. So that's a really interesting topic that you brought up in terms of shoes, because how you're starting from the base all the way up to the crown. And yeah, man, chakras are the archetypes of consciousness, is what I always say. So it's interesting to use that in your character selection process, you could say. Like if you're more of a sacral personality, you would wear a different, more sensual, maybe erotic, emotional style of clothing, artistic maybe, right? Maybe like a Russell Brand type of vibe, rather than someone who has more of a rooted personality, a root chakra personality. It'd be more like, gym shirts, like muscle shirts, stuff like this. I see them more like the entrepreneurial style, like athleisure type, root chakra people. But yeah, it's interesting that's a really interesting dynamic. And for me personally, man, my avatar is the Alpha Buddha. I mean, that's what I've been trying to construct it towards. I haven't fully embodied it yet. So the storyline of the Buddha was that he was a prince, right? He had all this luxury, he had this lavish lifestyle, but then he chose a life where he kind of disconnected himself from that. So I don't want to be the spiritual guy in the clouds that don't reach to the people. I want to be the kind of relatable spiritual guy who people can come to for advice, if that makes sense. So a man of his people, a man of his community, kind of like a preacher or like a spiritual, the Michael Beckwith type of dude, like kind of that vibe of just like, but then also alpha at the same time. So like keeping that masculine energy alive.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that picture of that monk and he's like sweeping, but he's fucking hench. He's just buff as hell, bro. He's just buff as hell. You seen that guy? Bro.
Yeah, I love that picture. It's like, 2 hours of workout, 5 hours of sparring, 3 minutes of meditation, and you just see him sweeping, and the whole joke is, even though this guy is an absolute unit, I think it would take at least 10 of us all just to beat his ass. Just, it just has that aura of, man, if you piss me off, I must take this broom up your ass. You know what I mean? And yet he's trying to be peaceful. It's such a powerful thing. And he's just sweeping in basic orange, yellow robes, minding his own business. I I've done some further research. I think he's an actual professional Muay Thai fighter. I think it's Bukao or something. His name is. He's well known for simplistic fighting, but very rough, hardcore, one hit, one kill.
One Punch Man.
Well, sure, but you know what I mean. The style is simple, nothing fancy, just straight basic Muay Thai. But because his condition is just fantastic, even if you block the kick, it's gonna hurt a lot. And he could care less if you block it. So yeah, that's I don't know how he came to be, you know, the current champion or the current fighter that he is. But even he had to emulate a character or emulate role models, or at the very least have to decide to win in his own way. And as you
Yeah. No. Go ahead. But I just have a point after you said that. There's some
okay,
download.
and I'll just end it with this one. You start seeing him demonstrate, his power by, letting other fighters just try to whoop his ass. Or even it's simpler. Punch me in my stomach and let's see who gets tired first. That's a power play. I can't do that. Can you? Sweet.
Yeah, man. When you said about role models, it's like, fuck, we have such awful role models, growing up. It's like we can't. That's what I've been wondering about. Is like we can't fully ingest all of the aspects of a certain human being to be our role model in a sense. There's always going to be a where we're taking certain aspects or characteristics or an influence from them, because if we take their wholeness, it's like we become them, and we lose ourselves in the process, right? And so I think the idea of role models is like for instance, like Disney, some of these dudes are simping, dude, like Aladdin and all of these like characters. Like I like that Aladdin archetype, but I definitely don't want to be Aladdin. You know what I mean? Like that concept is nice, and I like the aspect that he's like this rich, like he's like he's this pauper where he's actually that he has that lavish lifestyle in a sense where he moves into that and some form of like rags to riches. But again, it's like how his behavior, his mannerisms, like I don't fucking vibe with that at all. You know what I mean? So it's like you want to have certain aspects that you pull from it, but you don't want to completely incorporate that archetype that you want to be. So yeah.
So about role models, which is a fantastic way to build your avatar. You can look at,
I got a question.
What's
a question. Yeah, you can hear me great. Did I haven't watched it actually. Did the Beast in the Beast and the Princess, whatever the Disney movie is called, did he simp?
Oh, the Beauty and the Beast.
The Beauty and the Beast, yeah. Did he simp? Like, did the motherfucker simp? Like every single guy in Disney movies simps.
Yeah, but that's the basic archetype. That's a basic archetype. He has no control of his emotions. He gets led on by pretty much everyone. And let's face it, the whole movie industry is, programming regardless, but that's a totally different topic. But what if you look at, at the very least positive things of, the Beast? He's an absolute unit. He can fuck off a pack of wolves. That's pretty badass. I cannot fuck up a pack of wolves. So what if we would teach the Beast stoicism? What if we would teach the Beast, the I am Seek technology? At that point, he could give a fuck about some beauty. Instead, he would become, instead of the Beast, he would become something akin to a demon king. You see what I mean? He wouldn't just rule a area, he would rule a kingdom instead of, the whole self-pity bullshit that he's keep ranting about. Do you understand what I'm getting at, Felix? I absolutely agree with Sumit on the line. What's up? Yeah, what's up, Ivan?
Yeah. Just before we get too deep into simping, I wanna go back into and talk about that the Alpha Buddha and Versum. Some shit that's come up for me is like you know me, I've always been whenever it comes to my avatar design, I designed it according to like how I am internally, and internally, like I've always been a really nice person, always cared about others. I've always wanted to see other people, right? Uh, but see those when you're like that kind of person, bigger than you, and people who don't like seeing people happy, they want to overpower you, they want to take you down, right? And even as it is, a speaker of truth in this world is not very liked, and is not liked by the elites that want to keep us enslaved, right? And so for my avatar, I had to design it as where I could fight people off, where I could be dangerous, but also be the healer when I needed to be, but also being able to step into that role of just a straight savage, a straight beast, right? But it's not I like that energy, right? I'm just peaceful. But like that badass monk is really cool. It's extra cool because typically you would think that you could just beat up a monk like that, people would go to the monks and just destroy their whole villages. But just imagine that they're all like, hench as fuck. They all like work out, but they're all like highly meditated people. It'll be very difficult to take them down because of their thinking abilities and their strength abilities. And so Sum, I feel like, bro, like if you got fucking hench as hell, Alpha Buddha is fucking like right on there, bro. Just imagine Sum like he comes to Genius days one time, he fucking pulls up he's got these Arnold arms. Like, goddamn, nigga, what the fuck? And he's like, and then like people be coming in, the clients be coming in for his therapies and shit, and they're just like, goddamn, this nigga, like they see now, like that the way that he is, that he's fucking peaceful and spiritual, but it's like add that one thing, add just fucking big ass arms, and it's like a whole, right? And so I'm also including my body as like as the archetype itself, because like in the movie Avatar, when the guy he has broken legs and shit, right? And so he comes into the new world with like a perfect body, with the body that he wants, the mobility that he wants, right? And so like I want freedom, right? And one of those ways that I can get freedom is through the way that I move through the world, right? And so that becomes part of my archetypal design, is my steps, right? Yesterday I was with Pam, and I was like, this is how I would walk if I was the president. This is how I would walk if I was, what was I saying, babe? Biker. If I was a biker, if I was in a biker gang, this is how I would walk, right? And then I couldn't get it right, and I was like, okay, hold on, I'm gonna go over here real quick. And then I came back into the kitchen, right? And it startled you, right? Yeah, and it's because I was full in that fucking like that biker beast. And then I was like, this is how I would walk if I was a spiritual guru, right? Look, so like I can show you a few of them right here. So let's say, so I'm with the shape shift right now. So take my hat out. Watch. All right, and this is how the president, this is how it is as the president. All right, and this is how it'd be if I was a biker. Right, and it's like it's slightly different in my face, right? But my posture, with my shoulders, the way I hold my shoulders changes, the way I hold my chin changes, right? My hands, right? My smile is different in each one of them, right? I'm smiling, right? This is the presidential smile, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's a little bit. It's a confident smile. It's a powerful look. It's a powerful face. It's a strong stature, right? But for the guru, he doesn't want to be so stretched out, right? He wants to be a little more. Right. But then the biker dude, he's got his shoulders a little bit, he wants to look a little bit bigger. So he's got to make his shoulders a little bit bigger. Right. He wants to, so he's walking around like sort of expand. The biker dudes, you see, they'll be more wide, right? There'll be a width to them that they have. And then like successful people, there'll be like a longness to them. And then spiritual people, there'll be a roundness to them. Right? Do you see that? Like, do you see kind of like how these shapes like that are naturally occurring in the world, how they affect our archetype? Like we become that shape. You know what I'm saying?
That's incredible, and I like the fact that you gave this visual example, because people actually get to see the slight subtle differences even in like the facial orientation and like the shoulder position that changes. Ivan, could you show, just for the audience watching, I think this would be an interesting thing for you to show. Could you show the biker face with the spiritual fucking hands? Could you do that? Try that shit. Like, try combo. Yeah, I want to just see. Okay, I guess he's good. I don't know. He just left. Maybe he's doing some method acting. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Interesting, man. Really interesting. Ryan, what do you think of that?
Here's the thing, this is like so outside of my field of expertise. I'm like, bro, man, it's like you're a biker that actually became spiritual, Like, you still have, you still need to demonstrate street cred, but man of peace and man of God, Christ be with you or something, Buddha be with you. But you're still a tough man. People won't fuck with you, but you come in peace regardless.
That's so cool because you pointed out that you could see that the origin was biker that became spiritual, right? And so you could see that in people. It's like, you were this that became this, and you're still this, but now you're also this.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's cool. I like that. So we just hit our peak. We just hit our peak for today. Goddamn.
Yeah. I cannot top that. Usually, I do it more on the inside, and then from the inside it becomes out. For instance, in situations where I don't know what to do. For instance, I meet my crush. I have nothing to say. Yeah, it's like my type of girl, and for some reason, it caught me off guard. She came to me instead of I'm going to her. I've become the hunted. What can I do? Role models. Boom. What are my references? Boom. Cool. What is the shape that I will take? What is the speech that I will take? And then, what are the principles, the simple principles that I can apply? For instance, talk slower, move slower, root yourself, calm down. Because if you jump away, she'll jump away too. That's not the point. So what if we would take one of our spiritual gurus, like ACD or a Vince Kelvin or a Frank White, or who names it? Each has their own way of doing things. And then what I really like about what Ivan did was he took the archetype of the biker and he acted as such. A spiritual man will communicate slightly different than a biker and the president of the US motherfucking states. And then you just start to see some clues. And then you simply follow through. It's the same thing with martial arts. If I act scared, I'm automatically going to trigger something from my opponent. Maybe baiting him into an overhand right. To give an example. But yeah, man, Ivan, I don't know how you do that, but that's amazing.
Thank you. I'll tell you guys how I do it. The energy exists with or without me. That's simply it. And for me, I know that all I am is the observer, and I'm the one that acts upon it. And so I observe the vibration, and then I just let it flow through me. Right? Same kind of like in that video where I was dancing, right?
With the orange or something.
In the kitchen, I was dancing in the kitchen, and my sister was in the back. And she was cooking.
Right.
Well, I was dancing, but like I wasn't thinking. Like I didn't think. Like that's the thing. Like when I'm doing this, I'm not necessarily thinking about it too much. I'm just I observe. I go and I find the vibration, because the vibration exists with or without me. Right. And then it's very easy, you just kind of scan it, like imagine a third eye like scanning like this. It's looking through the ether, right? And then I just I grab onto an image, right? And I observe the image, and what does that image look like, right? Because if I saw a biker, I know what a biker looks like. If I saw it the president, that's a presidential candidate, right? If that's a spiritual person, I could see it automatically. You wouldn't have to tell me that's a spiritual person. You know what I mean? Like if someone is spiritual, the person doesn't have to say I'm spiritual for people to know that you're spiritual. You know what I'm saying? They can see it automatically. And so I find the image, and then I just like mold myself around the image. And I said, where am I? Where do I need to become within that image, right? So it's not very complex. It's actually not very complex. It's very simple. Just find the image and become the image. 2 steps.
2 steps, exactly. Now, could we talk about what are the benefits of what we're doing? Sumit, could you answer that? Why shapeshift? What does it matter? Who cares?
I would say to get into a state where you are basically getting a lot more ideas, you are in your genius zone in a sense, right? So when a lot of channelers, they've seen that when they're accessing this whatever entity that they're channeling, they get into gamma states, right? And that's like those little eureka moments, or like those aha moments where new insight downloads, all this kind of stuff comes into the mind. So I think when we embody the beast or we shapeshift, we're actually creating new possibilities for ourselves. You see, we're creating new neural connections, right? We're creating new ways to transform. So, I mean, transformation isn't easy. However, shape-shifting is, in a sense, right?
I see.
It's a very quick process towards just like changing overnight, or like changing in an instant. And I think that you practice going into that state of like embodying a certain image, I think you're going to become a much more master at that craft. So it's like, yeah, it's a refinement. I think actors are very good at that. They have a double consciousness. They have themselves and the character that they're playing, right? So it's like it's almost like an egg, right? There's a yolk inside the egg that is them. Outside shell is the character they're playing. And sometimes they gotta hatch in certain moments where they bring out their authentic selves with the fucking outer shell too. So I think that memories is a great thing to notice, because images create memories, right? We have a certain image of a flower that brings back maybe a childhood memory for us or something like that, right? So Ivan, when you're dancing with the citrus in your mouth or whatever, for certain people who have a specific, idea of what an orange means to them, right? Like maybe they grew up with an orange farm, maybe, I don't know, that they freaking, had oranges on the street vendor next to them. They have all of these imageries, right? Words associated with oranges. So when they see you dancing with an orange in the mouth, right, they're going to immediately get certain memories pop up for them that is orange associated. So as an artist, when you're choosing your background, or you're holding up a skull, or you're whatever you're doing, it's like all of it speaks something, all of it expresses something. Every image that you use expresses something.
Right. So would it be similar to an anchor?
Yeah, like an NLP, you mean, right?
Yeah.
NLP anchor?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I know that smell is the quickest one.
I see.
So if you create a good state to the cologne that you wear, that'd be one of the greatest ways to actually access a dope state.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Actually, there's some colognes that have pheromones in it that are more specific for attraction, right? But then there's also some colognes that are more fresh, right? And there's also some colognes that you smell like a grandpa. You know what I mean? Sometimes you want to smell like a grandpa. You know what I'm saying? You want to attract the girls that are into older men.
Bruh.
Hey man, to each their own.
Hey, dude, let me tell you something, bro.
Oh shit.
My friend, he one time he bought me one of these like Arabic colognes. He said that they're like colognes that you wear whenever you get ready to go to the mosque. Bro, I would wear this cologne and people would love it. It smelled religious. You know what I mean? And so that's very interesting that we can even smell. And sometimes I'll if I want to be more spiritual, I'll rub if I want to smell spiritual, I'll rub essential oils on my body, specifically let's say lavender or eucalyptus. These are my favorites. And I'll walk around and I'm smelling eucalyptus, I smell fresh like that. You know what I'm saying? It's really cool to think about that as well as like an anchor.
Right.
But the other thing that I wanted to mention was how we call it shape shifting.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, I was pointing out earlier how we can be more circle,
Mm-hmm.
more square, more tall, more long, more like a rectangle. And I'm thinking triangle, that's kind of like an athlete. I feel like that's a very athletic shape to be, especially because like how do they stand? How do they even say they'd be like this? They got like wide toes, the wide stance. They stand and they're like this, right? If coming down like that. Right. And especially because like whenever you're like, for one, when you're achieving, that's a stance of achieving, of like confidence, right? But at the same time, it's also like when you're trying to catch your breath. So the literal actions that we do have like an effect in our body that will create the shape that we have. You know what I'm saying? Like if you meditate, you will become more circle. Just automatically after you're done with your meditation, you just like,
the edges are gone.
Yeah, the edges are gone. That's so cool.
It's funny you should say that because I think a whole while ago, I looked into how cartoon characters were designed. And certain aggressive characters have to be triangular in shape to signify to the player that this is an offensive character. And what you would get is, tanks, people with shields are usually would be more squared. And of course, support characters would be more well-rounded, more friendly, more open. So
Yeah, I'm checking. So that should be working.
this should apply in all stages. So it should have some truth, Ivan, yeah.
What about SpongeBob?
SpongeBob. I don't like SpongeBob. He weirds me out sometimes with his laughter. SpongeBob is like one bad day away from becoming the Joker. That's how I look at it. From the way that he laughs to the way he, certain mannerisms just looks. His obsessive nature that makes me just go, no, it can go from hamburger to Batman real quick. What do I think about SpongeBob for real though? It's an interesting character. I like the shape that he is, He is a stable character. Very consistent with, the laughter.
Yeah, it's
actually, I want to answer your question, Sumet, because it's really cool. Because like SpongeBob, he has the main shape of a square, right? But the square itself is actually a squiggly square, right? And inside of the squiggly square are circles, little circles all over.
Right.
And he's also, so he's soft, he's squishy, you know what I mean? Like he's not like hard in a angular or like, it's not like metallic square.
No.
That'd be like a robot.
Yeah.
Where Sponge, he absorbs the environment, which is, again, back to the circle. Interesting, man.
So it's a little bit goofy. It's a little bit goofy in the way that the shape is itself. You know what I mean? And like, let's just say, let's take let's just say I'll talk about myself a little bit. How, let's just say, when I was more creative, like working in the film industry and studying films and working towards my degree, I would dress very creatively, a lot more creatively than I do now, because of the job that I have now, because my focus was on creativity. I would wear the scarves, I would wear the headbands, right? I would have glasses. I don't even need fucking glasses, bro, but I fucking look cool as hell. So I put glasses on. My hair was long. My hair was a lot longer, right? My style was very colorful. It was very vibrant, right? But at the same time, I would sometimes also I would make a little bit more street style, right? And sometimes I would make it a little bit more like I'm the director of a film, and I would have like a cardigan that comes up to my neck, right? Like a zipper cardigan, and I can put a leather jacket over it, right? And the leather jacket's got these stitching and weaving of silk on the sides. It's the one that I left at your house, and it's kind of like turtleneck, with the fucking browns, with the Gucci shoes, but the ones that look like 1940s men's shoes, but Gucci'd out in Gucci style, or like some Aldos, right? With the ones that you would have short socks with, right?
Boat shoes.
And they've got a little bit of spiky sparkle in the front, like little fake diamonds, you can call them, right? Or I'm wearing sneakers that have hearts on them and shit, right? My socks, like literally from everything is thought about, from my socks to my underwear to my pants to the different layers, how I'm gonna layer it. If I want, and now I put let's say I'll put a tank top under, right? And I'll be like, all right, at some point I'm gonna take off my shirt, right? I'm gonna take off my main shirt and I'm gonna have a tank top under, right? And I'm gonna get to show a little bit more of what I have underneath the shirt, right? And then I'll put my shirt back on, right? And it's like a teaser, you know what I mean? I'm teasing the crowd, right?
Right.
And so I'm playing with the layers, right? Because I'm just I'm a naked canvas. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking about this shit yesterday. I was watching American Ninja Warrior, and how you got to be the creators. They're so creative because they come up with all these different obstacles, right? And in that same way, it's just an empty space, and they invent an obstacle in between, right? And it's the same way. I'm just empty space, right? Literally at an atomic level.
Could you repeat that, please?
If we go inside of atoms, we are literally nothing but empty space.
Right.
Right. And so that same way, though I'm physical here, I'm still empty space. Right. And so God gave me this ability to create like him. Right. And so I can do whatever it is that I want within this empty space. Right. But I have to start with intention. What is the intention behind it? Right. Because you can see that. You can see it in the same way that we pointed out how there was a biker and that became spiritual. The intention was, I'm a biker, and then I'm spiritual now. You could literally see the people's thinking. Like people say, like, oh, people think that we can't read minds. We can definitely read minds, man. We can see it in your expression. We can see it in your whole body. Felix, did you have something to say, brother?
Yeah, I do have a question for your perspective, specifically for the biker example. So we have, hey, he has an intention to become spiritual coming from a biker. Okay. Now I don't remember you from the IMC. I'm just going to assume you're a part of IMC. Many guys from IMC have never actually became bikers in the first place. So, and to become it's a sort of a question of which archetype will we take, and by choosing an archetype, we sacrifice every other archetype. So, what would your perspective? And you were in acting and also in filmmaking, which is fabulous. What would your perspective be on like a young enthusiastic professional? I mean IMC members who would like to get to that first part before getting enlightened, before getting into that advanced spiritual technology, so to say.
You're muted, brother.
So for me, the answer is very simple. It's not for me. I lived that life where life forced me to become strong. Right. That's the life that I've lived. I personally think that I have a sad life that makes you happy. That's how I think about my life. Because I believe that I live in a comedy. That's the story that I'm living out as a comedy. And so when it comes to being a man, just, before anything, you are a man, right? And we're, as IMC brothers, we strive to become better men, right? And so it is about becoming strong first. It is about getting your money first, right? Because this is what's going to form the base of your life, right? And so if you start with spirituality, you're going to be floating in the sky, and to come back down, it's kind of suck, actually, right? Because you have to leave the cloud, right? But if you start with the basics that are more important, that not more important, equally important, but for us, they're important for a strong base here on Earth. Because I also have to see, like, I'm here on Earth, and to survive on Earth, I need to have money, I need to have power, I need to have influence, I need to have all these things that are just important to be a good man. And then you create your base. And as you're building your building, you know, this is the motherfucking Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, that you're up in the clouds now, right? Literally, like the building is up in the clouds, but it starts from the bottom, right? And so that's sort of my take on it, right? Is start from the bottom, build a strong base. And as you're building that base, naturally, you're going to get to that point where you have space to work on your spirituality, right? Because if you don't have wealth, you can't give yourself time to go to a yoga retreat, go to this place or that place, right? But of course, it's also simultaneous. And so we should be working on all of it at the same time, truly, truly. But there is going to get to a point where you're going to need to dive into that shit, where you just need to drop all the other hobbies, right? And you just need to like master, you know, not just kind of get it, but like literally master it. And to master it, you need to drop everything. Does that resonate with you, Felix?
That was a phenomenal answer. Yeah. I think you are fucking on point. And while you were describing the getting from the clouds and you actually being on planet Earth, that really resonated with me. So thank you for your perspective.
That was dope, man. That was a great explanation, man.
You're welcome, brother. You're welcome, brother. Here, we always here. We got 3 minutes left. My bad, Zoom.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say that my answer to that would just be, you know, resourcefulness. You know, just like making use of what you've already got, like your strengths that are already there, maybe right in front of your eyes. Right? Maybe there's things that you haven't explored that you already have, right? And so, yeah, definitely be able to explore the resourcefulness that is already there. Like we can accumulate resources, and of course that's going to, you know, bring the base stronger and things like that. But I think a lot of us, we overlook the genetic strengths, the generational freaking lineage that we have all these hidden strengths that our ancestors have freaking had for generations that we don't even tap into ever. And so our character can never really expand to that level. So yeah, the inner work, the external work, both matter, man. And I think that, yeah, having a strong base, having a strong foundation where you're being out and about in the world doing shit, I think that's the best thing, man. Because then you can actually invest in other things and invest in like that ascension process or whatever you want to call it, right? So awesome, guys. This was an excellent, amazing conversation. I think there's a lot of depth to it. If you have any questions for either of us, we're going to post the Instagrams also below in this video. And yeah, check out all the rest of the Genius Days. You know, we started out very long time ago. Sometimes we had, you know, guests on and things like this. We always have interesting ones every time. You know, every week is a different topic. So definitely check those out. If you're interested, you know, follow Ivan's group, Life Masters, you know, a Flow Jedi's Telegram group. That way you can, you know, get an update on when we're doing these next, if you're interested in joining us and actually asking questions. So thanks once again. May the flow be with you. Be the best, fuck the rest. May you never be the same again. Os brothers.